In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight, and sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Kraus.
Yes, sir.
Cash, how in the hell are you today?
Doing pretty good. I'm being attacked by this goddamn fly in the studio.
It is summertime, and that thing is being a little bastard flying around.
Damn.
We have tried to catch it. We've tried to subdue it and kill it. But
we
is
tried to
going
tame
strong.
it and make it one of our own.
Yeah, put it on a leash.
It didn't take. The training
take it
didn't
for
take.
fly walks, but no.
Training never stuck. And now it's
It's
really
being a
rebelling.
pest.
It's
Yeah.
really rebelling.
It really is.
Because that thing is just navigating around my head like I got a fucking gravity pull.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun
But
for us here.
yeah, so I'm going to try to concentrate, try to do my best, and we'll just see how this goes. Because this is another India Cinema Wednesday.
Well, we did have some people comment finally about what they would like this to be called.
God.
Desi Wednesday.
Don't know what that means.
I think all good or something along those lines. Comment what that means below. It's
Okay,
the
so
working title.
maybe we didn't make it clear enough. So give us an Indian cinema title, but let us
know what it
means.
right, in the comment section. That would be fantastic if you could do that.
Because we aren't fluent with it.
No, not at this point.
But yeah, so it is for now, Desi Wednesday, I don't know. But for now, it's Indian Cinema Wednesday.
Yep.
You know what that is.
Of course.
And we are doing See You Soon, a brand new film on Amazon Prime streaming.
Starring Fahad Fazil himself.
Is it starring him? Would you
Well,
say it is?
co-star,
It's
I
half
guess.
and half,
He's
I think.
the cousin uncle.
Towards the end, he really becomes like the main
pivotal
character.
Yes, he does.
But at the start, it's definitely
Roshan Matthew.
Roshan Matthew?
Yeah.
That's his name? Yes. But yeah, so but he is in it. And we love Fahad Fazil.
We love the man.
Love the man.
He's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And this film, interestingly enough, we talked about it a ton, but shot completely on an iPhone.
Yep. iPhone and webcams.
We can't get
That's
into
it.
that right now.
No, we can't.
Because you're getting ahead of yourself.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
You're getting ahead of yourself. I'm going to pump the brakes
okay.
there, Chief.
You're gaslighting the hell out of me over here, aren't you? Good Lord,
I'm
here's some
gaslighting
gasoline.
you. I'm sandbagging you.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, yeah, because you're
We gotta
always...
talk about the poll
We got to talk
first.
about the poll,
Of
of course.
course.
People got to know. See You Soon's leaving. What is going to replace it? Because people know we got Joshy Superhero. Yeah, good luck, bud. Thanks. Good luck. That thing's
I tried
got
to
a
catch it.
sixth
I tried to
sense.
catch it.
Joshy Superhero, Viscerani, Ship of Theseus, and now we are adding, very exciting, I'll do the drum roll. Do you remember?
The new Netflix film Cargo dropping. It hasn't even dropped yet, at least from when we're recording
Yes.
this. This will come out September 9th. So on today, it's actually dropping today. So September 9th, Cargo on Netflix.
Yes, we don't know anything about it. Haven't even done a reaction to it.
No, we haven't.
Probably will need to do that.
We will drop that tomorrow.
We'll try to do that, but
Or we'll drop it before this releases.
we'll drop it before Cargo
Right,
releases.
yeah.
So it is Viscerani, Joshy Superhero, Ship of Theseus, and now Cargo.
Yeah. I am very fascinated to see what the poll is going to be because See You Soon obviously blew this out of the water. Viscerani almost won the week before, but then we have a Joshy Superhero too.
Which I thought Joshy was really going to win this one.
As did I.
I thought people wanted to see a superhero film, but not the case. They said See You Soon. So I don't know. I think Cargo's going to win it.
You think so? Just because it's new?
Just think it's new, yeah.
Which, hey, that's fine.
But everyone that comments, every time they say, oh, you got to see Viscerani. or you gotta see Justice League, or Ship of Theseus is
There's
truly
one guy,
cinema.
Yes, who might be the
So
most
I don't understand
passionate
why
Ship of
these
Theseus
things don't
person
win
ever.
though. Yeah.
He says it's a masterpiece. He says you will never see a film like it ever again.
And it did. It looked around
look
that
good.
range when we
Yeah.
saw it, but we just haven't been able to get to it yet. Because next week we are not doing Cargo, or we won't be doing the winner next week. Next week we will doing Village Rockstar.
Right.
We got to talk about that.
Oh yeah, that is right. We are still reviewing that. I forget about that little film.
That old ditty.
That old indie film.
So we are doing Village Rockstar, and then but vote still, because the votes still count.
They do still
next
count.
week we're gonna count and see where we're at on the polls.
Yes.
But next week will be Village Rockstar. Then the week after will be the poll winner.
Correct.
You dig?
Yeah, I dig. I like it.
All right. Is there anything else we have forgotten to talk about? Or we need
I don't think so. I think we're pretty on the ball today.
Let's
Cash.
get into See You Soon, the film that we originally thought was only 60 minutes. For some reason, the Wikipedia page
Very deceiving at the time.
did it not say 60 minutes?
It did at the time. It said anywhere from 60 to 65 minutes.
okay.
They have since updated the wiki page. It now has a runtime of what the film
Yeah,
actually
98
was,
minutes.
98 minutes.
Which is crazy because when we released our reaction, the wiki page said 60 minutes, but everyone that commented on there said,
already knew the time.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
how, you guys
must
need to
have
get
been
on your
knowing
wiki. You
something.
guys
I know.
need to update your wiki pages.
Guys got to start editing this. What's going on here?
But we do. So it is an hour and 30 minutes long, not just
It
an
is.
hour, which makes a little more sense when you have Fahad Fazil.
Yeah.
But
I mean, 38 more minutes of that guy is always a
I know
good
you gotta
sign.
get as much. You gotta milk him.
You really do.
Milk every
For every
ounce you
second
got
it's
from
worth.
him. Absolutely. But yeah. So See You Soon. It is told 100% on screens. It reminded me of the film Searching with John Cho that came out 2018.
You told me that film was amazing.
So underrated.
I still have not
it's
seen
such
it.
a good film. I can't believe no one was talking about it. Also, the first film to star an Asian American in a leading role in America.
Really?
Yes.
That's insane.
First.
That seems hard to believe.
It's crazy, isn't it? Believe
Yeah.
it, brother.
Wow.
Yes, sir. First mainstream. So of course, there's been indie and stuff like that, but that's the first mainstream film to be ever
Just like any Asian actor ever? Like
to star.
what about like Jackie Chan?
Yeah. Well, I guess. Well, I don't
I guess
know.
because he's from
I guess
China,
because it's not him. Oh yeah, I guess because
Yeah.
he's not an Asian American. He's just
see. Yeah.
Asian.
Right.
So I guess because that does make sense. Because I like Jet Li and stuff
Jet
too.
Li, yep.
But he's also Asian. I mean, he's also just Asian. He's
Right.
not. He wasn't. Because John Cho was born in America.
Born
I'm
in
pretty sure.
America,
Yeah. Because that's definitely was the first thing. I mean, that's what everyone was talking about when it came out.
That's insane.
Was that it was
Think
the
about
I
that.
know,
Yeah.
A giant studio has, and that's a reason I have to believe that no one's talking about it because there wasn't a white guy leading it.
Well,
I mean, because it was such
might
a
be
good.
jumping to assumptions there, but it could
Well,
be
why
the
else?
case.
Why else would you have such an amazing film and then no one talk about it?
Maybe the premise. I mean, with it being on screen the whole time and not, shot in a very traditional way, that could have been. I mean, I
don't know.
I didn't see any marketing behind it either. Like I saw one trailer one time for that film, and that was it. That's why I never saw it.
Well,
there
word
wasn't a
of
lot of
mouth
marketing.
should have been enough for you.
Well, it should have
Because
been.
I came here personally and said, "Hey, Mason, you got to go and see this film," and you never did.
Well, you told me that.
I
in
gotta
all
feel-
fairness, a year and a half
That's
after
true.
that
That's very
film
true.
came out.
Not
but-
a year and a half. It was on my top 10 list that year.
Was it?
Yes, I swear to God, it was absolutely. yeah.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Just goes to show you don't remember my top 10.
No, I
list.
don't. I don't remember yours.
Yeah, it
so-
made my. It might have been a sleeper, one of the
Right, one
small
of the
ones we
sleeper
did or
ones,
whatever.
yeah.
But it was definitely on my list. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was worth it for sure. Yeah. But yeah,
Well, maybe we
it's
should
like
just
it was
Nut
a lot
up
like
and
that.
review it.
We
One
might
day,
have
we
to.
might
Might have to nut up. But it's a lot like this. I get now we're seeing a lot more of these kind of things
Yes.
because you kind of have to shoot like this.
Yeah.
But that is definitely what it reminded me of. And it dealt with a lot of the same things with someone missing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm surprised there's not a controversial
Yeah.
section yet on this.
It's bound to be. There's a lot of controversy
Yeah,
whenever
so
there's an
I'm
Indian
surprised
film.
because it's similar to that, but I know that this is not India's first film to be only showed on through
Like iPhone and stuff
exactly.
like that.
So you can't really say they stole from, but it's very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar because it's that same mystery. But if you haven't seen that, go and watch Searching.
Oh,
It's worth it. But this film, it's similar to that where it involves Jimmy, who is this, I don't know, he's just a normal dude hooking up on Tinder.
Right, of course.
Except he just moves into relationships entirely too fast.
Way too fast.
Like,
this guy just doesn't think. He's just like, he's all in. He proposed to this woman, never meeting her in person.
Right at the start, I'm thinking, oh my God, Jimmy's going to kill this woman. Because Jimmy's a serial killer.
Yeah, he seems a little strange to just dive in.
Because the first message he sends is, what's your number?
What's your number?
I don't know how fast they move in India, but I've hit the Tinder up.
It can never be my first number. You gotta ask for a number.
Yeah, you gotta be 6'10", have an 8-pack, just to go, hey, what's your number, and assume that someone's gonna
just gonna give it to you.
Yeah, sure, I'm good with it. But yeah, so I thought that was a little.
Well, I thought too. He was a little aggressive with some of the messages. Well, he wrote her like 8 times before she replied, and I'm like, bro, relax.
That's why the whole time I don't know if they were doing that on purpose, but the whole time I'm thinking, something's a little off with Jimmy.
Jimmy's not all there.
Jimmy's pushing this a little too hard.
He's really trying to find love.
And not only that, but he asked her to marry her in a week.
Which, wow. Yeah. Okay. And then
I get that
sprung it on the poor gal.
But everyone,
like, oh, this is my mom and sister on this video chat. And she's like,
that was fucking weird. Yeah.
What?
That was weird. Yeah, he's like, okay, don't be mad. I would be
furious.
Not even that. Not even if he went on to ask me to marry, but just like, oh my God, dude, give me. And especially imagine springing that on. It might be different cultures, but imagine springing that on like your girlfriend that you've been dating for 3 days,
right? Who has never met your parents before?
Maybe she wanted to put some makeup on or something.
Be a little prepared, or like just have a conversation with your parents before you ask to marry her in front of them.
That's why it was getting
me. It was insane. Jimmy was a little weird that way.
He was a
little forthcoming,
a little pushy in my mind.
Pushy, yeah. I mean, he might have had the right intentions. He seemed like a nice guy, but just a little bit of a creepster.
I know, but it's almost like a thing, like, oh, might be a culture thing, but even all his family and everyone was like, they're like, this is weird, Jimmy.
You're moving a little fast, my guy. I mean, have you really thought this through?
Yeah, so that's kind of the entire premise is this guy, and we got to talk about this because this is interesting, because it's like a piece of history. Is right at the start, this movie gives a big, long, like warning or kind of message to the public about COVID.
Yes, it does.
And talks about how this film was shot following all the restrictions, and that it was shot 100% all in one location and all on iPhones.
So impressive. Just that feat alone to be able to shoot that all is an impressive feat.
But that little message, right, that's a thing that will stay there forever. This film might not be the greatest film of all time, but you will always go back and see this film and know that message, and people will be like, oh my God, dude, there was a time when this disease or this virus was going around where they had to shoot. It'd be like going back into like the 20s and seeing a film, and at the very start, it's a Spanish flu
warning saying we all had to quarantine.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, dude, it's so prevalent
part of
in history.
Yeah, it's so bizarre to see something like that, though.
And that's kind of
know you're part of history because of that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool and unique too in its own way, because it's like it's as many restrictions, as many things that are going on, and all the chaos in the world. Film is still able to be made. Yeah. And we're still able to put together a compelling enough story. And as you said, this doesn't go down as one of the greatest films of all time. But what it does perfectly is it really captures the moment in time.
Yes.
And then when you understand the context of how this film was put together,
it kind of adds a little more to it.
It does, yeah.
Even if the film's not perfect, just the context kind of adds a little more. Just knowing that even watching it, you kind of feel like you're part of history or whatever. And how they kind of even went in and get in, because we know Malayalam, they love their warnings. So if they have a reason to throw something up there,
they'll throw it up.
But they even kind of went into like how the theater companies are pretty much non-existent at this time. And how they said that in Malayalam that there's 0 films being made or whatnot because of all this. So they're still able to make this film despite all that. But like you said, it is a cool thing to see.
Yeah, it is.
But for film to be for film to be shot like this, the story has to be
compelling.
Exactly. Because I can't watch a 2-hour film shot completely on an iPhone and on screens unless the story's
great.
And that's something that Searching does so well. But this film does a good job of that. But I felt like maybe it wasn't enough at times.
Okay, yes. I thought the start of this film, and I knew this going in. As you had just said, the story has to be compelling when you shoot a phone entirely on webcams and on iPhones. It has to. And I thought, and I knew that going in, and I was like, hey, how are they going to be able to balance this out? How are they going to deal with the pacing? And I got to be honest, the first half an hour of this film, the pacing was excruciatingly slow.
Yeah, I agree.
I understand. I understand that they had to build the characters up. We had to understand what was going on. And I thought overall, the acting was good, and I thought they did convey that the best that they could. But I think it really does pick up the second half of this movie, which the payoff at the end for me was worth it. And it didn't end your stereotypical way either, which I really did appreciate. So overall, I actually thought this was a pretty well done film, especially when you know the circumstances surrounding this.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with you. It does start off slow, which is weird because it gets through so much shit so fast, but it still feels slow. Like the dating and all that happens so quick.
Yep.
You're almost thinking, oh my God, this feels like months have taken place. Nope, it's 5 days. No, 5 days, and you're right. It has to establish these characters, but it does. It's for a movie that's only an hour and 30. You really can't have one part being really slow,
right?
Because you expect for it to be so short that every scene is going to be really clicky. But it does. It takes a little while to get going, but once it starts going, you're right. It does start to pick up speed and momentum. I don't know if the end was as satisfying for me.
See, I like the not. I didn't want to see this film end in a happy ending because it would have been too stereotypical for me. I actually appreciated that they went a way that I think most audience members thought it wasn't going to go. I thought it kind of surprised me, the end, because it wasn't the happy ending.
Well, I didn't think it was going to end in a happy ending. I figured early on that it wasn't going to be what we obviously expected. I figured it wouldn't be a straight up kidnapping, And that's kind of what it wants you to think at the very start is that this woman's this woman's father kidnapped her. That's really obviously the point where it wants you to look at it. But I never expected that to be the case. At some point, I almost...
Well, you knew something was up immediately.
At some point, I almost thought somehow Fahad Fazil, Kevin, had something to do with it.
Oh, really?
Like they almost tease that, I thought. I mean, just because they show him so much. And at first, it's like, why is he in this so much?
Yeah.
Like, why were they so desperate for Kevin's help to figure out this lady?
Right. Well, and his friend, too, and his coworker.
Yeah, and like that's a whole...
investigates him and sees that he searched her 36 times. That's a lot of times to search someone. So she was like, oh, you pervert, what are you doing? Yada, yada, yada. So you're right. There were maybe some little hints, maybe suggesting that he could have potentially had something to do with
that he became obsessed with her or something at some point. But he lives really far away.
Yeah, he didn't live in the UAE.
Yeah, he didn't live with them or anything at all. Yeah, so that it would have been hard to believe that he had anything to do with it. But they get so much into detail with like Kevin's work and stuff.
About his software engineer, he knows like IP. But I think they did that because they had to kind of explain how in the hell he was able to have Anu show the modem in order for him to track down the IP address.
Yeah, but you could have literally just said, "Oh, he's a software engineer." You didn't have to get into the because there's a whole side plot of his work hacking him and then him like being really pissed about a project that he's on and then him not giving him full credit or something.
Yep.
So he ends up calling his coworker a bitch
and she loses it on him.
Well, obviously it's like in front of their bosses and everything.
Yeah, of course. It's a
Zoom call.
Zoom meeting, yeah.
Yeah, but like all that I didn't think we needed. Like I get just tell me I get that he's a software engineer and now he can hack stuff. But I don't know how much I needed of that side plot of like there's one part where Jimmy's really trying to get Kevin to work but he goes to sleep. Then some guy comes in and cleans
his house
like
and then takes
a 5-minute
money.
scene and it's like we're just watching that and like it's a lot more than I thought you needed to establish Kevin. I thought maybe you could have done it where you figure all these things out along the way instead of have just a 30-minute Kevin scene where you get in, figure out he's like having problems with work and he's having like this problem with this woman. This woman comes in at one point to like wake him up. But he's been like sleeping for days or something like that.
Heavy sleeper.
And he's like, what is he working night shift?
I don't know. He seems to always be up at night in all fairness.
And all these other people are working days and so I wasn't sure about that. Although to say all the acting, the performances are great in this.
They are.
You know, the story might not be super in it, but the performances are
incredible.
just seeing Fahad Fazil react just to this screen or whatnot, and seeing
this
him
single tear.
exactly.
And that was an organic tear too.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
that was a
Well, he's
beautifully.
so good.
He's so good. He is.
And seeing him like slowly trying to finally figure out who this woman really is, and just to have him sit there and just be like okay, now show your shot.
Yeah.
But he just shows slow motion with nothing, you know. And again, you know, it goes to, you know, you got to think about how this was shot. That couldn't have been easy to do.
No. And let's not just talk about Fahid Fazil, but we also have to talk about Darshana Rajendran,
Well,
because
she
plays
really
Anu
good
in
job,
this.
yeah.
Dude, there were some extremely emotional scenes that she had to portray here, and she knocked it out of the park in multiple occasions. Like, very emotionally draining scenes that I thought she did great, because, I mean, again, let's think about this. You don't have a big crew around you. You don't have anything. You got an iPhone, and you got to shoot these scenes. And I thought she did a really good job with what she had.
Yeah, and she does a really good job of really not knowing her intentions as an actor, you know, and as that character. You know, you're really not sure if Anu, the character, is all she says to be.
Right, and you don't know if she
She's
could be part of the
whole
scam.
thing. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
Really, when I thought when Kevin starts getting into like Anu's brother and shit, I was really gonna think that she was like
Part of the scheme.
yeah,
Or
exactly.
part of the scam.
And her brother was pretending to be her or something, and they were trying to like like catfish this guy.
And that's something that this film did do well. Is there were these little pieces where they kind of would throw you off the scent just a little bit, where you weren't quite sure what was happening until obviously the big reveal that it is a prostitution ring and that she was brought here against her will. But I thought overall they did a good job setting that thing up.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're putting spoilers in this.
It does end up being that she ends up just being tricked and
into coming down through like a visa to be a housemaid.
And really and this is kind of part that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, is she was just trying to get out of the prostitution ring by talking to people on Tinder. But she was like so hesitant to start talking to Jimmy. You think she would have been all about like, yeah, bro, let's get the fuck out of here. She was so like super hesitant, like I don't know if I want to call you or anything like that. So,
but I think
she would have been just
think also she's dealing with, you know, because they did set that up kind of well story wise, because she's like, hey, don't call me unless you give me a heads up, right? We have to set times, because she is in this house where she does get abused, where she is a prostitute, and they don't want people to. You know, the pimp, I guess is what you would call it. They don't want
what was
her
that
to
guy's name?
Get caught.
Jacob.
Yeah, the pimp.
Yeah, Jacob.
I think so.
Yeah, that was her quote unquote dad.
Joseph.
Joseph. Is that it?
Yeah, was later known to be the pimp.
Yes, pimp. He's a flesh trader.
Flesh trader.
He deals in the flesh.
That is the most gruesome name for a
For a sex
sex
trade is
makes
pretty
my
bad,
skin
but
crawl.
yeah. Yeah, I kind of like how they did that. They did keep you guessing to where you thought at one point maybe that was her dad, but then he acts very odd when they meet. Because remember he meets, there's a sting operation. He's going to set this dad up for hitting her.
Yeah.
But then he just...
When the dad seems just way too cool about this whole thing.
He's like, it happens.
And again, Jimmy... Not the sharpest tool in the shed.
No.
He doesn't think things through. He just goes ahead and goes, this conversation's going to go great with her father.
What was the point of that?
Why?
I thought he was going to fight him. I thought he was going to immediately come up and start beating the shit out of him.
In the elevator. But no, instead he wants to have a conversation with the man.
And the whole thing, and because the whole thing is shot through phones, and this is something they do pretty well, is they give you enough of this kind of makes sense why he has got his phone on all the time. Mm-hmm. Because it's really hard to do, especially in found footage shit.
Yes.
Where there's a fucking monster chasing him, and the guy's still he's still getting the rolls of
perfect
thirds.
shot. Yeah.
He's still setting up a tripod.
And same thing with Paranormal Activity,
well, that's
the
what I'm
fourth
saying,
and
found
fifth
footage.
films,
So it
where
really,
it's
they're and he's got the camera facing him while he's running
away, and it's what the fuck?
Obviously you're just dropping the camera and
I'm running. I'm out. I don't need to get the footage.
But this film does, and It helps because it's a short. The length helps a lot because of the shorter time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they do a good enough job because with most of these films, you'd be thinking, oh, why the fuck does he got his camera on all the time?
Right.
At some point, you kind of do question like why Kevin would set up his camera and then go to bed.
Yeah.
Just for anyone to be able to pop in there and see what he's doing.
Oh, Kevin is sleeping.
Sleeping.
Oh, of course. 14 hours a day.
So sometimes you kind of just got to disconnect from that. But most of the time, they're doing a really good job of just giving you enough of why they would have their phones on.
Yes.
But even the time when he's going to come up and like with Jacob or the dad or whatever, he's still like, all right, I'm about to do this.
Yeah.
You think you would do it and then call.
Right.
And not have your whole phone on the whole time.
But I did like how he revealed the father because he's talking to her FaceTime and then he just moves the camera over a little bit and moves it back to him.
Yeah, and
I thought those were good shots.
Well, then she's yelling at him like, don't, and he's just, I gotta do it.
Sorry.
I've met you 3 days
I'm
now.
already in. I'm already in. I got to do this.
I've spent 3 days with you. I can't turn back at this point. We
I
gotta
spent
get married.
$11 on gas getting to this location. I
can't
go
screw this up at this
through this.
point. Yeah, but but for most of the time, it's done pretty well. You know, through camera or through the computer screen or whatnot. So I got to give him that.
Let's talk about this because, we are very blessed, obviously, in a lot of different ways, like living here. I was very confused at first when Jimmy was like panicking. He was like, oh, the police are here. They're going to arrest me. And I'm thinking, what for, dude? You didn't do anything wrong. And then it was revealed that it's illegal to have a live-in situation with the opposite sex. And I'm like,
yeah, but
oh
my thought
God,
is
that's insane.
She sent him a suicide video.
Note. Yeah.
So why can't the cops see that and be like, oh, he probably didn't murder her? I guess you could put a gun to her.
I think they were arresting him because they knew that it was a live-in situation.
Oh, well, even then, what's the punishment?
I don't know. They might put you to death for something like that.
No, I don't think it's like that. I think it's probably. I thought they were arresting him because they thought he was
implicated in the murder.
Yeah,
maybe.
Because even with the video, he could have put a gun to her head and said,
make this video.
Yeah, because she's crying and bawling and whatnot. Because I always thought, because he was really freaking out.
He was.
Of course, they're not even in India. They're in the UAE.
UAE, yes.
That's United Emirates. So that definitely could be life in prison.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's why. It wasn't,
I guess I keep forgetting
India.
that's not India. Yeah, it is the UAE. Where if they find even an ounce or even like a shred of marijuana.
Right. Like a
even like a
milligram.
Like one dog just... Maybe that's way they'll
life in prison.
There's Americans in the URE who are in prison right now just because they don't have to have any reason. No. They just smell weed on you and they're fine. That's why I
stay away from certain.
That's seriously. That's why. Yeah. Even though it's a nice country, of course, but it's not worth the risk.
Very stringent on that.
But yeah, because he was legitimately. You would have thought they were about to put him on the chopping block because he was not. But of course, he was very upset when he found out that she was a prostitute also.
Yeah, it was not the happiest
Jimmy,
guy.
The only way you're marrying a woman after 5 days is if she's a prostitute.
Even against her will.
It's.
I mean, come on, Jimmy.
Thinking, Jimmy.
How many women are like, hey, yeah, let's do it after 5 days?
I got the lucky one.
You're not thinking this one through, Jimmy. Jimmy, and then, you need better friends.
And then also, they were so mad at Kevin at one point.
I know. It's like this is unwarranted. He's just trying to help you out.
Yeah, he went out of his way. He damn near lost his job.
He did just to help you.
But not even Jimmy's upset. The entire family. Remember the
mom calls him. She's like, "You've disowned." Yeah. I'm like, "What the fuck?" Poor Kevin.
Like, how could you not tell Jimmy he was dating a hooker? Like, why was this my fault?
Yeah, like, why is this my business?
He called me just to look into her. Like, and even Kevin at the very start goes, "Don't go with this woman. She has no background, no SIM card." He's like, "Do not. It's a red flag."
It is a red flag.
Jimmy goes, "I love her, man."
He's like,
I love her.
I will do anything for love.
Yeah, and my mom, she's actually on the phone right now, and he's striking it. Jimmy, you got to stop doing this.
Jimmy,
no one likes being ambushed.
Yeah, seriously, no one likes this. Like, this is why you don't have friends.
You got to give us some warning, Jimmy, when you're going to have the whole family on the line.
God, Jimmy,
it's brutal. It's brutal. A perfect name, though, Jimmy, for this character.
Oh, for sure. Jimmy fits the description of this asshole so well.
We've never once have seen an Indian character named Jimmy, but if there was going to be one, it's going to be this guy,
yes,
Jimmy, because he seems like he's mentally a little on the slower side. Because at the end of this, remember, they're like, he's got to move back.
He does to America.
Yeah, it ruined his life.
mom.
It ruined his entire life. This small circumstance. God. And really, it was on new. It was really on everything to risk.
This whole thing was in the span of less than a week. Yeah. His whole life is just uprooted in less than a week.
And he's so mad at fucking Kevin, and no one's thinking about Anu, who fucking went through this sex trade, escaped from crazy circumstances.
Yeah.
Threw the note at the window, and it was like world news.
It was?
They broke up this giant sting. What was it, like 13 guys arrested?
Uh-huh.
This giant thing, but Jimmy can only think
about himself. He's just so narcissistic.
I can't believe I married that. I almost married that hooker.
Now I got to go back to the U.S. Oh, man.
It's weird, yeah. And then Kevin's like,
I'm just going to go back to work. Like,
go. Never mind. I don't have a job anymore.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy.
For calling that lady a bitch, but God. Yeah, it's tough times.
It is. Definitely.
It's tough time. I mean, the person you're supposed to feel bad for is Anu. I mean,
you're supposed to, yeah.
But at the end, it's almost like her and Jimmy are gonna get back together. Or something.
They kind of leave it open.
You really think Anu's gonna live there?
Hell no.
She's going home.
She's going home. She wants to go back to her family, and understandably, she just signed up to be a housemaid.
Does Jimmy really think that she was even really in love with him? I don't understand.
Well, Jimmy's a little dim-witted. Again, like he's not very smart.
I really don't understand that last scene though, when they're like, her gate's 112. You have 20 minutes. You can go catch her.
And then he doesn't even make it, of course, because Jimmy's dumb. He's like, I couldn't count to 11.
She's like, I went to the wrong gate. I don't know. Yeah, it was.
But he was sweating, man.
Oh, he's sweating bullets.
Yeah, he was.
Well, he's sweating the entire time.
Yes.
From the second she's gone, he knows, oh, fuck, this is not going to look good for me. I met this woman 5 days after her married me. Now she's gone.
Oh, Jimmy.
It's looking like a homicide.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
For sure. Too. Well, any final thoughts on this? Overall, though, I would say it was pretty good.
Yeah, in all seriousness, it was a pretty good.
For being so short, and being shot probably in such a short amount of time. It was pretty good.
Yeah, pretty impressed overall.
I'll have to say, though, if you want to watch a film, if you really like films just like this, though, where it's being told through the screen, go and watch Searching.
I will.
Because that one has even a story very similar to this. Mm-hmm. And it's full length, but it's really has you attached from the very start.
I'm going to have to look for that. It's just called Searching. So
just Searching John Cho.
Alrighty.
All right.
Well, that is our review for See You Soon. If you guys like what you've seen here, please be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. Check out our podcast in audio format, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. Social media pages, Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter, that's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause, and until next time.
Bye.